And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 3, episode number 35. 35 of these things. It has been a blast. And I've got another outstanding guest today. They're all outstanding, folks. This one, boy, a winner of big awards late in the season. With me, I have Tyson Cruickshank from Wheaton College. Tyson, did I say it right? Is it Cruickshank? I feel like that's how all the radio and PA guys say it. Is it
Yeah,
Cruickshank?
Cruickshank.
Cruickshank.
Yeah, I talked to the PA guy a few times, and I still think he's messed it up even in my fifth year a little bit. But yeah, it's Cruickshank. It's hard to pronounce.
Cruickshank. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
glad you said that because I've always heard the other. So I appreciate you clearing that up for us. Folks, if you don't know Tyson somehow, well, you're probably not a D3 person. You probably have just stumbled in here from Division One or something. But let me read off Tyson. I'll read off a few
oh
things
man.
for you. This is pretty crazy. So first of all, you won the Jostens Trophy, which is the biggest honor bestowed upon a Division III basketball student athlete. So you were the men's recipient. By the way, shout out to the CCIW, which swept the Jostens. So the
Yeah,
Jostens, you're the NABC Player of the Year. You're a D3hoops.com first team All American. You were the CCIW Fred Young Most Outstanding Player. That's just a few things, and I've got more, but that's just a few. In all seriousness, Tyson, like what a season. Just talk through as you
yeah,
step back now and reflect, like on the season.
yeah. I mean, I'm so glad and grateful that I was able to, have the fifth year. I mean, I definitely think I would have regretted not doing it. And so, yeah, thankful that Wheaton, gave me the ability to do that. Just because obviously there's a lot of other programs in D3 that I just wouldn't have had the ability to, come back and play. But yeah, I mean, it was an awesome season. And I think a lot of guys, at least like at Wheaton on our campus on our team, like we had a good feeling about this year coming in, and we'd been through, my freshman year. Oh, Aston's gone. How are these guys going to
Yep.
win? And then last year, obviously losing Cade and Yay, it's like how are these guys going to win? And yeah, I mean it was an awesome year, and I was really glad to have come back for the fifth year.
The decision to come back, it's such a unique time period with the COVID fifth year, which has made that possible. Which kudos to the NCAA for making that possible because
Yeah.
all of you were cheated out of a season, basically. I mean, we can talk about that season, but was it a tough decision to come back, or was it kind of like a no brainer?
Yeah, it felt like a no-brainer. And I honestly I didn't think about going anywhere else. Like that's Wheaton was the place where I wanted to stay. I honestly did not even think twice about once I knew that I had that extra fifth year and I saw the guys before me do it, I was like, yeah, that's definitely what I'm gonna do.
This season was pretty incredible for you guys. Like you said, coming into the year, nobody really knew what to make of the whole CCIW.
Yeah, no,
Like
definitely.
I
Yeah.
remember reaching out to some head coaches, including yours, and being like, I have to vote in the D3hoops.com top 25 preseason poll, and I have no idea who to vote for. You guys, though, you knew who you had, right? So you knew
Yeah.
about TJ and you knew about other guys and you knew about younger guys ready to step up.
Yeah.
It sounds like as a core, you guys felt real good heading into this season. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. And like we had guys, I mean, who were program guys, like Andrew Williams, Eddie Scott, that I mean, they were just playing under, really good guards their whole career and kind of got unlucky there. And we knew what we had with a lot of those guys, and especially like even guys late season like Nate Sock stepping up due to injury, and guys like Nick. I mean, we had a lot of studs, and so we definitely came into the season with a lot of confidence and knew what we had for sure.
Uh, Talk a little bit about the CCIW tournament. Obviously you guys get knocked out there
Yeah,
at home. The league itself, like when I watched, and I wasn't there in the building, but the league
yeah,
this year was really really good as it always is. Some new faces though, right? So North
yeah,
Park comes onto the scene this year with that tough style. You guys got knocked off by Elmhurst.
yeah.
Talk through the conference tournament game and the one you lost there.
Yeah, that was a tough game. That was definitely tough just because, it was always a goal of mine, and I know guys on the team too. Like we had never hosted the CCIW tournament, and so, to get the chance to host it, we were really pumped. We were excited. Like we wanted to win it in front of that home crowd, and it was just kind of one of those nights where you just felt like you just could not get anything to kind of go your way. And I mean, I can't remember the stats right now, but I know they shot unbelievable in the first half, and it was just a slow game where they had a really good scout on us, and credit to them. I mean, they have some of the most athletic
Yeah.
defenders, probably in all of D3,
Yep.
being able to, and like especially the depth that they had. They're a really tough defensive team, and early on the season, like they were a team that they were thinking that they were going to be competing for a championship too. And so they had the talent for sure. And yeah, it was definitely disappointing, but I think it honestly jump started us into the tournament, knowing that, okay, we're still alive. It's not over. And really kind of, you know, give us a new perspective going into the tournament.
The NCAA tournament, let's kind of go there a little bit. So you get
Yeah.
in via a pool C bid, an at-large bid. That was a no drama situation. You were a lock. You get in, you get, I think it was Illinois College first, right? Illinois
Yep.
College and then St. Norbert.
Yeah.
Um, Illinois College was, I thought, a dangerous game, a team
Yeah.
coming in with just tons of momentum. You guys played well in that one. Talk about that opening round win against the Blue Boys.
Yeah, that was huge because I mean that's a team where you look at it and it's just like these guys haven't lost all year. Like they just know how to win. And that's kind of what coach, talked about us in the tournament. Like everyone in the tournament, they're winning teams. These are winning programs. But the thing that, I think we had a chip on our shoulder is just, we've played in the CCIW for the past, however many months. And I mean, me specifically played in the CCW my whole career. And I don't think necessarily they were, ready for that type of physicality. And they were really good players. I mean, it's a really good program that I honestly think is going to be very good in the near future with the talent they have. But, it was just kind of a matter of we're not letting the season be done here. And that was a fun game looking back to, especially like playing in front of your home crowd in a tournament game. I mean, you can't really ask for anything better than that. So, but I mean, they are a great team for sure.
You get St. Norbert the next night, and they're a team that they had to win their conference tournament to get in. It was a little bit even of an upset that they won their conference tournament. Great
Yeah.
program, obviously. They played you really tough.
Yeah.
When there was never a ton of separation in the
No.
win against St. Norbert. That's how the tournament goes, though, right? Was that a game, Tyson, that you guys just kind of grinded out?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's definitely a game where you grind it out because that's a team where, they've seen CCIW level talent. They've played the Oshkoshes of the world. They played some of those, really good teams in D3. And so they've seen that. And so, they're not going to be shocked by, the speed and athleticism of the game. You're just going to have to play really disciplined basketball. And I remember coach specifically for that game, it's just like you have to do everything that we've talked about all year, to 100% of your guys' ability, really, and staying as disciplined as possible because they were really well coached. And specifically, like in the post, they were so good in the post. Like they had some really good footwork.
Yeah.
And so, kind of stinks for me being the small guy. I literally can't. There's nothing you can do about that. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously very well coached team, and they fought hard. I mean, they had a chance to take it to overtime with the last shot too. So
I was excited to see you guys get that sectional you did out in Newport News because it
yeah,
paired such like cool teams together. So like you
yeah, I
had
agree.
St. Joseph of Connecticut, and then the host Christopher Newport, who went on to win the national championship, had Mary Hardin Baylor, and both games were great. That Friday night, I thought that was a really cool matchup. I had seen St. Joseph Connecticut many times on stream this year, and I had voted them one probably most of the season. They spent most of the year number one. Crazy athletic, a
Yeah.
veteran team, a bunch of like fourth and fifth year guys. You guys played great in that game. What was the key to the win against St. Joseph?
Yeah, I mean that was just team basketball, and kind of going back to the first round, you know, I they had definitely seen um, talent obviously early on in the year, and I think they lost like one of their key guys since then, and so they really hadn't faced a top 10, 20 team since then, and so that was another case where I feel like we got out really quick early on, and then they kind of bounced back on us actually just and we I don't know, we kind of struggled the first or at least from what I remember. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I know I struggled in the first half because I was in foul trouble. Um, I that was kind of a problem with me all year is trying to stay out of foul trouble. But I mean they were really fast and I mean they got so many steals on us and that's credit to them obviously being I think they're ranked like top defensive
Yeah,
efficiency all year. Um, but it's just a game where you kind of have to put your head down, and you have guys like Andrew Williams. I mean, going 15 for 15 from the free throw line,
unbelievable. Yeah.
like that's what it takes to win those games. And I thought we really brought it, and we hit shots. Like I remember Nick and Nate just hit two pairs of big threes. So that's just what it takes to win, bigger games like that. And credit to them that's a great program, a lot of veteran guys, but I mean, I just felt the whole way too. Like I just felt as if we were the better team and we were gonna pull it out. There's just you have those gut feelings sometimes. I felt like that was one of the games for sure.
And then you have a game to play to get to the Final Four.
Yeah,
You were there as a freshman, right? You were a reserve player as a freshman when Wheaton went under Aston Francis and that incredible team.
yeah,
Um, Huge opportunity for you. Christopher Newport obviously goes on to win the national championship. I watched that whole Christopher Newport game, and boy, you guys dug yourself in a hole. Like, yeah, I don't, was
yeah.
it, did you get down 20 or 24
I think it was
somewhere?
24 at one
I
point in
think
the
it's
first
20,
half.
24.
Yeah,
It looked like it was just like going to be a blowout.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, you guys come storming back in the second half. You personally had a monster game. Can't remember if if it 36 or 38. You had a monster game. And somewhere there at the end, I can picture it on the stream. It was to the right in a corner. Someone had a
yeah,
shot. I think a shot to tie the game
yeah.
after,
That
right?
was me. Yeah, it was just yeah. It was really just a night where it just or obviously early on too like you just couldn't get anything to fall. I remember specifically it was just a I had a wide open layup and I was running back on like getting back on defense and I just missed it. Like I don't know how it missed and it was just kind of to get the game started it was just one of those nights. But I mean credit to them too, they hit almost every single shot, fadeaway
They did.
jumpers, elbow jumpers, and that was our game plan. Like that's what we wanted to force. The big guys shooting those tough fadeaways. We knew Johns is gonna do a lot of step backs to his left hand, and so that's kind of what we focused in on. And I thought we played them well defensively. They just hit tough shots. And so yeah, I mean it was definitely tough, but I think we went into a good mentality in halftime, and I was fired up because really kind of all we talked about was just winning the game by 1 point. All we needed to do is
Right.
win the game by 1 point. We didn't need to blow anyone out, and obviously we were at a point where that's all the hope you got left at that point. And so we just went in with the mentality in the second half, just beat them by 1 point. And I mean, the second half, yeah, we came out hot,
Played
super
great.
aggressive, and there's just a few threes in there that fall that I feel like usually should. It could have definitely been a different second half too at the end. So, I mean, looking back on that, it was an incredible game though, and they're a great program. They're so athletic,
Yeah.
tough shot makers.
Yeah, and I saw them in Fort Wayne then the next weekend, and you're right. They're a powerhouse program.
Yeah,
I mean, I
well
think it's
coached.
yeah, well coached. It's pretty easy to argue that they're like the top program in the country right now in terms of what they've done the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah,
So as you look back on this, Tyson, your records as a grad student, you were 25-5. As a senior, you were 22-7. Your junior year was that COVID year where you guys were
yeah,
12-1, 15-11, 23-9. Um, pretty amazing 5 year career, like as you step back now and you think about all 5 years, you've had a chance to do some pretty special things. What do you think of when you think of your career at Wheaton?
Yeah, honestly, I just think about obviously spending time with the guys, all the good times that we had traveling to. One specific thing that always, comes to mind when I think about, Wheaton basketball is Zimbabwe. We went actually after my freshman year and, played the national team down there, played a bunch of pro teams, did some camps with some schools down there. And it was just, some of the best experiences of my life and just, making the relationships that I have with, all those guys. It's really one of the reasons why I went to Wheaton was because the relationships that I knew I was going to make. It's just, some of the most top quality guys you'll ever meet. And so definitely looking back on my career, that's the main thing that would stick out, honestly.
I'm going to go backwards a little bit. I'm always
Yeah.
fascinated to talk about recruiting and like how people end up at certain schools. So
Yeah.
you're from Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
Yep.
How does a high school kid from Highlands Ranch, Colorado, end up at Wheaton College? And Wheaton certainly has a national footprint, so it's never
Yeah.
surprised to see a million states on the roster.
Yeah.
Who else recruited you, and how did you pick Wheaton?
Yeah, it was a I've got a pretty long recruiting story, but I mean, pretty much I recruited myself to Wheaton. It was really through a friend that I knew. Her brother played football at Wheaton, and I was actually out here visiting. So I was on a tour with Lake Forest and Illinois Tech. Those are two schools that I was looking at,
Wow.
and I thought, why not check out Wheaton? It's in the area. So went talked to Schauer. And pretty much he was telling me just didn't think I was, big enough. That was pretty much
Oh man,
the
this is
first time
great.
we met. The first time we met, yeah, he was pretty much like, yeah, I don't. It's a different level of physicality. And so went back my senior year, played my whole senior year, and he was actually at one of the games that I was playing at in like my Elite Eight my senior year. And so came to my house the next day, gave me the Wheaton pitch, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. And loved the idea of Wheaton. Didn't think it would be a place I would go to. I was actually debating between Wheaton and Regis University
Sure,
at the
yeah.
end. So yeah, they're D2 in Denver. And I just remember, yeah, sitting in class one day and I was like, man, I just feel like Wheaton is where I should be. So gave the Regis coach a call, let him know that I was going to be going D3 instead of D2. I think he was pretty surprised at that, but I knew kind of what I was going to be getting at Wheaton. I knew there was a program with a coach and team that wanted me to be there. And I think that's super important. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of my recruiting story, how I got to Wheaton. But
Yeah, it's fascinating how many stories are like that, where some of the best guys in the league were not guys that were heavily recruited at first. It
mm,
turned out to be these superstar players, and those are probably some of the best stories. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't know that was yours. For all I knew, that you were the top guy that Mike Schauer was going to, and chasing
no,
around. So it makes it
yeah.
even better, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, I was never the top guy in my high school team, AAU growing up. I was always, kind of a reserve point guard role. Didn't even get to varsity until my junior year. And I think I averaged maybe like 12 points my senior year in a really like solid Colorado basketball
Sure.
conference. But yeah, no, definitely was not heavily recruited whatsoever. But yeah,
So talk about that a little bit, because what I've noticed is in following Illinois Wesleyan is some of the best players have been guys that were not the best player on their high school team. Let's say they had a Division I guy playing along,
yeah,
so they got no attention except that some coach went out and said that would be a great Division III player. In your case, is there something, Tyson, to the fact that people that have to learn to play with great players end up being better teammates, because when you get to college, everyone's great? Like, is there
exactly.
something
Yeah.
to that helping you?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree. I mean, um, not coming in with an ego and just wanting to work hard. That's really all I wanted to do at Wheaton, and obviously coming in my freshman year, it's pretty crazy having, Aston on your team, and that's just a different whole nother ball game. To I feel like a lot of other people's stories. Man, sorry, this sun is working me right now. I'm gonna lower my desk really quick.
We finally found
Uh,
something that can guard Tyson Cruickshank, and it's the sun. Apparently, he's finally been stopped. Hey, let's talk about this Aston Francis character for a
yeah,
second.
let's do it. Let's do it.
So yeah, I don't like that guy. He made a lot of shots
Yeah,
against my team, like a lot. And so
yeah.
every chance I get to see him, I tell him that. But holy crap, Tyson! Like, were you on the floor or were you on the bench the game that he scored the 62? I can't remember if you were in the rotation or like.
I actually was in the rotation that game. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was unbelievable playing beside him. And specifically that game, especially as a freshman, I'm like, do not mess up. Like it was more like I don't know if I'm gonna shoot the ball even if I'm wide open. I'm getting the ball to him. And it was just one of those nights where he needed to have the ball. And that was a pretty special night. I was on the bench when he hit the game winning three. But yeah,
Yeah.
there was a few times there like throughout that run. I got some decent minutes. Like especially in that Augustana game. Playing with Aston.
And you're like, not only did he score 62 in the Elite Eight, but the final two field goals he makes are 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was like down one, up two, but the final one won it.
Yeah.
The degree of difficulty of these shots was like the final one was
Yeah.
deep in the corner fading,
Hmm.
I believe, right? So it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
And one of the best stories I think about Aston and just talking about like his work ethic. Earlier in the year, we had played Augustana, and he had that same shot to win the game and missed. And so he actually after the game, one of our coaches tells this story, but he just saw a dude in a hoodie just running by him after the game with a basketball in his hand, and he was like, "Yep, that's Aston," and went and got 200, 300 shots doing that same exact shot.
Wow.
Um, and ends up in the Elite Eight getting that same shot and burying it. So it's definitely a testament to his work ethic. And that's definitely something that, bled into the Wheaton basketball culture. We just obviously wanted to go get extra reps, go get as many shots up as I can, that type of work ethic.
Do you find that like in a great program like at Wheaton, and other programs, that like the cycle of you coming in as a freshman and having to deal with this Aston Francis guy and the other guys that were older than you,
Yeah,
like that's how you learn to become a great player, right? Is you got your behind
100%.
kicked in practice for a year or
Yeah.
two, right? Like, talk, is that something that you saw evolve in your time at Wheaton? Is first you're that guy, and then at the
Yeah.
end you're the guy that's showing the younger guys.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I came into Wheaton, I think I was maybe 125 pounds sopping wet. Had, I had lifted. I just have, I was always really skinny. And I remember our first practice, my freshman year, we are doing like a one-on-one drill, and I got just absolutely ran over. And I'm laying on the ground, and coach just stops practice, goes up to me and puts his arms around my bicep and says, "This is why you need to be in the weight room." And so from that point on, I was always in the weight room trying to get bigger and stronger. And I think that's something so key for freshmen coming in is you got to get strong. Like it's just a different level of physicality. You're playing with men out there, and so yeah, that's something that I think you know that I learned really quick, and it's something that you got to adapt to, especially as a freshman.
Good transition to the CCIW, and we can kind of use that physicality as we work into some thoughts about the league. But
Yeah,
the physicality, I think of those games last year when we're trotting out Lambesis and Luke Yoder,
yeah,
and these guys are just monsters, right? They're in
yeah.
the weight room all the time. Every school you go play, you mentioned Elmhurst and how physical they are,
Hmm.
and we could just go right down the line in the league. North Central, what is the physicality like, especially as a point guard and a guy that's always got the ball? So you're always the focus of the other team's defense. What is that physicality like in the league?
Yeah, I mean it's different. It's completely different. Like even when you play NCAA games, first, second round, you can just tell there's a different level of physicality. And I mean, yeah, specifically talking about those IWU teams like the Luke Yoders and Lambesis of the world. I mean, they're the reason why, I was grinding so hard in the weight room and I would, because I couldn't succeed. It would literally be impossible for me to bring the ball up the floor with Luke Yoder guarding me 94 feet if I wasn't in the weight room. And it's just, it's essential just because of how physical the entire conference is. I mean, every single team has, a top defender
Yeah.
that's, D1 probably, athleticism, and they're going to be, you know, riding you up the court, and it's something you got to be prepared for. So,
The league really, it's historically one of the best leagues in Division III. It's probably the second best league. You could argue it's been the best league the last few years. If you look at the advancement into the Elite Eights and the Sweet 16s, we'll give the WIAC their due with their 13 titles, but I don't think anyone else. I don't think the league takes a back seat to anyone else.
yeah,
What your appreciation for being part of a league with so much history, a league with so much competitiveness, a league where truly on any given night you go somewhere that's seventh in the league and you get beat if you
yeah.
don't play well. What's it been like competing in the CCIW?
Yeah, I mean it's been awesome. And it's really one of the big reasons why I wanted to come to Wheaton too. Is just that, if you make it out of the CCIW and you're in the national tournament, you got a shot. You have a real shot to win it all. And so, I'm pretty sure, like I looked back at my career that I lost to every single team, I think, besides Carthage.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, everyone always had a chance, to win night in and night out. And I mean, even looking at like our team this year, we're down 15 to Milliken, at Milliken, and
I was rooting for the big blue, Tyson. Like I had my Milliken gear on
yeah,
and I was looking for a Milliken victory. I don't know what happened there, but I would kind of pencil that in as a W right there. And you
yeah.
guys were incredible the final 7 minutes. Like you personally had an unbelievable game there. You guys were in trouble in Decatur.
Yeah, no, we were in big trouble. We were in big trouble. And the year before that, we lost by 25 in Decatur.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, I mean that's a testament to how good and how deep our league really is. I just don't think a lot of people who aren't around CCW basketball, I just don't think they really understand. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm CCW biased for sure.
Just a couple more things. I know you're busy. A guy that's going to leave there with an undergrad degree and a master's degree. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. The
Yeah,
the pandemic. Uh, I've talked about this the last few years, but just how much the pandemic has been a part of the lives of college students here the last
yeah.
several years. And you would be in the group that saw the whole darn thing through.
Mhm.
That season that you played, I guess that was 2021, right?
Yep.
The season where you were 12-1. Um, what was it like trying to navigate through that crazy COVID season that started in like late January?
Yeah, I think it really put into perspective. You think you have a control on things, you think you have a plan, and that just really showed, you don't have any control of really what's going to happen. And so all you can do is, put your next foot forward and just kind of put your head down. And, if you have a game scheduled that Wednesday and it gets canceled, well, we're going to practice next day and we're going to adapt. And so I think that was the biggest thing, at least I saw with our program, and at least with a lot of people I know, is just, you got to learn to adapt, and not make excuses. I think that was also a really big thing during that time that, coach emphasized was we just can't make excuses. We can't,
Right.
everyone is going to have excuses. Everyone has people who's going to be out. but you just have to adapt. And I think preparation and hard work is really the best way to combat that. Is just be as prepared as you possibly can, and things things should go your way. It may not, but that's basketball and that's life too. So
It was also, I thought, the greatest example of like needing to be a great teammate, because if you have one random guy on your team that goes out and does something stupid that he's not supposed to do,
yeah,
and then he comes back and he tests positive, and now everyone in close contact with him is out. I mean, as a collective group, everyone had to be locked in and had to be like accountable to each other
yeah.
for trying their best to protect themselves. I mean, wasn't that was a pretty amazing thing to see play out on a team?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And we definitely got close as a team during that time. I remember all the guys actually came over to my apartment my junior year, and we played video games and watched movies and stuff, and we're forced to just be together. And I'm definitely grateful for those times. Where the times that we all got to spend together, and we're kind of forced to, because that's something that may never happen again, where
Yeah.
you're going to be forced to be hanging out with some of your best friends. It was honestly a blessing.
I want to talk about you. You personally, you graduated your undergrad degrees in economics, I believe, and
Yeah.
you've been pursuing your master's degree, which is in global leadership. I
Yeah.
mean, you talk about a cool sounding master's right there,
Yeah.
Tyson. Global leadership. So, what's the game plan here after you finish up your master's at Wheaton? What does next year hold? Do you know yet, or what's going
Yeah.
on here?
Yeah, so I've been working downtown Wheaton for almost a year now. So I started um, here last May with a financial firm downtown Wheaton, and have been working with them ever since. And definitely think I'm gonna stick with it. I've actually gotten very lucky. I mean, the culture here is awesome, and honestly, they were at like most all of our games. Some of the biggest fans out there. They were super accommodating. Let me take time off for the whole basketball season, being able to take days off, go to practice. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna stay here. And I've really enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens. I'm actually going to be moving downtown Chicago and then doing like a reverse commute in. So I think that should be really fun. Kind of get away from Wheaton for a little bit, and explore the city. But yeah, I'm definitely excited and not sure what will happen in the next few years. But yeah.
Now, when you say downtown, are we talking downtown, or are you going like to Wrigleyville, or where are we
It's
talking?
I honestly I don't know the city that well. It's in West Loop.
Okay,
So it's
gotcha.
it's
It's
by Fulton
downtown.
Market. Yeah,
Sure.
Fulton Market. So I think it's pretty close to United Center. I think it's like a
No one
10,
no
15 minute
one
walk
moves
from
to the
there.
south side when I'm a south sider. No one moves
Yeah.
to Beverly. I'm glad you're not saying you're going to Wrigleyville like everyone else. So you're actually going downtown. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, one more question I want to ask about your head coach, Mike Schauer.
Yeah.
Mike's been on the QCast about as much as anybody. I think he's tied for maybe second or something like that. Um, First,
It's
I
a
got
good
to ask you
guess.
about that. I got to ask you about this guy's timeouts. I mean, Wheaton goes on a 9-0 run, hits a big three, and then we got a timeout coming here. And what's going on with these timeouts when things are great? I mean, are you supportive of these, Tyson?
Yeah, no, I'm fully supportive. I'm bought in. I bought in day one from what coach was doing, and so I don't know if I was a coach if that's something I would necessarily do, but
Well, he got it from his coach. He got it from Bill Harris, who did it.
yeah,
And it
I
annoyed me
see
then.
it.
I was like, why? Like, everything's going great for you guys.
Yeah,
The fact that it annoyed me as the opponent probably shows you that it's a great concept.
yeah, no, I agree, and honestly, we're defensive minded team, and especially this year, like I thought we were so good defensively, and so a lot of it is just like if they can't score more than us, we're gonna win. And so we're just trying to get stops and just reel in defensively the disciplines and keys that we needed. But yeah, that's a good question.
And on a serious note, um, it does seem like Mike has the program in such a great place.
Yeah.
He's in that the Wheaton program is now in that mode where you feel like no matter who the faces are,
Yeah.
that the team's going to be good, you know?
Yeah.
So we're going to, Cruickshank's gone, but then
Yeah.
this other kid who was kind of a JV kid's going to turn into a great player.
Yeah.
Talk about where Coach Schauer has built the Wheaton program up to.
Yeah. I mean, he's an unbelievable recruiter. And I think he definitely knows talent. And so, that's a start. If you're getting, guys who really can play, in the program and buy in, you have a chance. You have the talent, you have a chance. And obviously he's an unbelievable coach. And I think a lot of it is, focused on, just a culture of our team and making sure that, everyone is bought in and loves each other. And, I think that's just, you can't go wrong. If a group of guys are fully bought in and, are willing to give it their all every night, it's hard to lose. It's hard to lose like that, especially when you got talented guys.
Yeah, the program is in a fantastic place, and certainly I know from an IW standpoint, the rivalry there is a really
Yeah,
great one, right? So every time the two
it's
teams meet,
awesome.
you expect it to be pretty great.
Yeah.
Um, I did not like the ending of the game at Wheaton. I it's not on my list of questions.
Yeah.
I wanted to state that
Yeah.
I
That
don't like the ending of the game at Wheaton.
I feel like this needs to be discussed. I had a feeling when I got asked to be on that this would be we would talk about this. Yeah, no, looking back after the game, looking at like on Twitter the video, I was just like, man, I see why people are upset about this. But I can say fully that I got fouled. He got my forearm, and so, but it doesn't look like on film.
Yeah,
It really doesn't, and I can see the case where saying I maybe fell a little further than I should. I can definitely see the case. I can I can see the argument for sure. But honestly, I mean, I watched it over a few times. And he definitely did get my wrist. It's just from that angle, it's honestly impossible. It's impossible to see. I'd honestly want to ask him kind of what his thoughts were because I saw his reaction too, and immediately like, he wasn't defensive about it. He was, he
right.
kind of seemed a little more upset. So, I mean, I did get fouled. I think it was the right call. It's a hard call to make in that situation. Um, but I think he had a good angle. The ref had a really good
Well,
angle
I,
at it.
I
So
intentionally stayed away from that
yeah,
debate after the game because I feel like those things could go down a bad road,
yeah,
like
100%. Yeah,
and so I just felt like it was such a great game
oh, it
that
was. Yeah,
what are you going to say? I mean, so if Cody Mitchell's shot didn't go in, it wouldn't happen. And there's a million things on both sides.
yeah,
And so it was a heartbreaker for sure, but it was
yeah,
another incredible Illinois Wesleyan Wheaton game. I mean,
yeah,
you could just count on them.
yeah.
Tyson, it's like I messaged you after the season. I mean, you really did your school proud, man, for how you
Thank you.
played the game. You were a guy that got better every year. No
Yeah,
one handed you anything. You came in, you fought your way, you earned time, and to the point that you win the Jostens trophy and player of the year and all this stuff. You played hard, you played smart. um, Everyone looked at Wheaton and said, that kid is really good. So I give you a ton of kudos for just how you represented yourself and your school. What I'd like to
thanks.
do is just give it to you to close this out. And I want to change this up a little bit to what I usually do is there's that hashtag we all like to throw out, YD3. And,
Uh,
and I thought maybe a thing I'd like to do in closing this is just ask some of these guests that come on, in closing us out, tell us in your own words why Division 3 is such a great thing and was such a great thing for you in terms of, if younger kids are listening to this and they're making decisions. So just tell
yeah,
us, Tyson, why D3?
yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, really, I just think D3 is just such a great place because, you're gonna find people and you're gonna be surrounded by people who really do care about you, not only as, an athlete, but as a person. And so it's competitive. You're not seeing less competition at this level. People care, and you know, I would just say, you know, you got to go where you're really wanted. And that was some of the best advice that I got in high school was go where you're wanted, and you know, let the rest take care of itself. And so yeah, I mean, if you're a D3 athlete and you're being pursued by D3 schools, like just give it a chance, give it a thought, because I mean, I've met a lot of people at the D3 level, and there's not a lot of regrets. It's an incredible atmosphere, incredible, and honestly, I'm very very grateful for the decision that I made choosing D3. So
Well, I look forward to seeing you at games. You know, I walk into King
yeah,
Arena and I see guy after guy after guy that I watched
yeah,
compete. You know, all going all the way back to people that are just about my age, like Mr. Nate Frank, and
yeah,
you get into the Charles Ridleys and
yeah.
Aston Francis, and so uh, I look forward to seeing you there rooting for the Thunder. Maybe my team can avoid some of these heartbreaking endings to your team. We need to
Yeah.
change that a little bit. Tyson Cruickshank, the Jostens winner 2023. It's been a pleasure watching you play, Tyson, and
Thanks.
we'll be rooting for you in the game of life here. Go crush it, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.